Hey, hi both. Really pleased to be here with you. Thanks for joining us today. Could you introduce yourselves with your name, how long you've been with the Lego Group, and your favourite part of working for the company?
I'm Sven. I'm a senior designer for Lego Icons. I've been in the company for a little over 6 years now. And I think my favorite part of working for the company is just that not every day is the same. You get to do all kinds of odd things. It's not always even model design. So that's my favorite
Awesome.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Matteo. I've been in the company for about 3 years, and I think my favorite part of being in the Lego group is making elements, is design cool element, and as well see our people in the once they have the element, like play with them and have unexpected use, and to see that is really really cool.
Fantastic. Well, I'm sure a lot of our viewers who make their own mocks will definitely be using you in parts. So yeah, I'm looking forward to cutting onto that. Before we get too into the parts, because we could talk about those all day, could you talk us through the model, what you were aiming for? Just give us an overview to start off with.
Yeah. So our idea was more of a home decor kind of piece, so that you could put be more intentional with color in your home, place something that's represents nature, but is also something that you built yourself and doesn't necessarily require the same amount of maintenance that you would with a real
Yeah.
one. And of course, we've also taken a lot of liberties in designing things that maybe wouldn't actually work in real life, but they work because of the advantages of the Lego medium.
Yeah. Fantastic. And the first thing when I saw this, I think we have a smaller fish tank in the creator line.
Hmm.
When you did that set kind of you saw the demand to do something like this because I guess it's tapping into those different passion points, right? So can you talk me through the logic behind choosing this as like an icon's entry?
Yeah, so we do a lot of consumer testing as well. So it's something also that comes from those tests. People do want something that's bigger, something that's more nature, more color, more. So it also derives from there, and then we also use some concept images there, and people were really wanted to also have it framed. So there was a lot of consideration: should we do it without the frame, just the coral? And there was a strong opinion about having the frame included. So Fish Tank was a pretty straightforward brief in terms of shape, but we had to find.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. And did you ever at one point have any transparent elements for glass? Is it something you considered and played with?
It is something we have explored, but it just comes with a lot of drawbacks where you it's more difficult to immerse yourself. There's packaging things that you have to consider, and how you cut and what materials we can use. In the end, it was for a Lego experience for us. It made more sense to just to have this what is usually expected of our models. It's just to kind of be more approachable.
Yeah, for sure. We've seen a lot of people attempt coral reefs in the mock community. When you were starting this model and going for inspiration, did you look at a lot of real life images to start off with? Can you talk us through that initial design process when you're getting those ideas and coming up with them?
Yes, if you've recently tried to find images online, it's a bit of a difficult time now of discerning what's real, what's not. So um, it is. I've spent a lot of times watching documentaries, so it would just see what species, what works. What I've even watched some cartoons that feature a lot of coral, just to see what's the icon, what do people kind of associate with like a coral, because we can find really unusual shapes and things, but then if people don't recognize them, then
Yes.
they start asking like, oh, what is this? So
And I feel like Finding Nemo, is that one of the things you watched for this?
it may be.
Maybe. See, it's not licensed, right? So maybe we can't say that. But yeah, I can definitely see that in. You mentioned the name of this one before. What was this one called?
Yeah, I believe it's called a corkscrew animal, purple corkscrew animal. Try pronouncing that.
I definitely recognize that from Finding Nemo, but I guess that's the thing when you're trying to create this, right? You're trying to, if people might their mind might go to certain places, and that's maybe one of the things they think of. So it's a really great inclusion. Focusing on those plants first, then, did you create a lot of different concepts, yeah, outside before putting them in, and then how did you actually choose which ones to put in the model?
We had a lot of man-made objects inside, like you would put in a normal fish tank to have like a cute little structure or a little castle or something. But then it became more about that and building the castle instead of building the aquarium. It was taking away a lot of the focus, and it was also confusing the scale for us. Once you have these tiny objects and you already have it was basically playing tricks on a lot of people who saw it. So we took that as a maybe draw more into nature and scale back on the man-made objects. We still have a little treasure chest, which is kind of iconic, and I think it translates very well. You understand that it's not meant to be a huge treasure chest.
Fantastic. So moving on to the fish, then, I think have we got 4 fish and 1 crustacean?
Yeah. So there's a little crab if you.
Yeah. Oh, crab! I see. Wow. Very fun. And talk to me about that development process. I know you said you kind of even use the Lego medium to create your own kind of fish. So what was that process like?
Yeah, so just walking around our element stock in the company, and there's a lot of unusual elements that the other teams are also making. So also finding like, oh, what can I actually reuse from here? There was a lot of, I think, the Dreams team has made a lot of unusual translucent elements, like these translucent leaves that we can really use for seaweeds to kind of mimic a really thin structure. And then, of course, what can we use to create patterns? For example, the minifigure accessories hats, those work really well to create coral-like patterns. I think we have the broom piece for the first time in transparent, which is really
wow. Yeah, really cool. I love seeing those fun part uses. We're all about those at Tips and Bricks. So yeah, the chef hats, explorer hats, some brooms there as well. Yeah, awesome. I can see the fish rely a lot on slopes as well. But you managed to use a lot of existing slopes, but of course we created the new fin parts. So can you talk about when that came into the process? Where in the design process did you decide, okay, we need a new element here?
This I think it started with my challenge of building really thin elements that will have a proper. We can find a lot of like minifigure weapons and stuff that have a thin surface, but they have awkward connections for us. We could do it, but we also want to make sure that the building experience works for consumers. So this is where Matteo, he was the element designer on our team, and something that's I think great about Matteo is that he will do his own exploration and he'll find the best solution possible. He knows all the system.
Yeah. So yeah, I remember like Sven came with like a sketch of like a fin that how could we have an element that could work. And then I tried in the beginning to make it as simple as possible. So it could be reused at different place. And I try as well using existing shape we have in the system, so following some slopes and bows. But one of the focus as well was to make sure that we can pattern them so they have a nice, they fit nicely together, so we can adapt for bigger fish. And I can show you the exploration. So from the very beginning to the last one, so there was like quite few iterations. And between all of them, they may look very similar, but every time it was like a small like curve, like radius that was changing, because that would impact a lot the way you can combine them. And we really wanted an element that you can easily like combine without huge air gap in between, but still an element that look good standalone. I can show you the grid. I tried to follow some shapes. So the shape I follow is like the 3 module bow, and then with a flat end. And the top radius is close to 4 module radius. So I think there is a ton of way that you could build and follow some existing geometry, and I'm looking forward to see actually what the fan will build.
I'm sure there's so much you can do with it, from roofs, architectural details, or plants. You can see it in I think 2 different ways here for some of the coral and then the fins. Are there any other uses, or are kind of those 2 in this model?
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
use them. We use
Yeah.
them here.
That's pretty cool.
I believe how many colors? Is it 5?
5. Yeah.
I think 5 different colors in the set. Is it? I think cool yellow. What is it called? Aqua. Green, transparent. I think the new reddish orange.
Yes, fantastic. And really awesome to keep it within the Lego system as well. I assume that really helps with compatibility, using it for those other sets, right? Have you designed a lot of other elements before that you were able to use that experience for this one?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah. What other elements have you designed before that helps you design this one?
So I've been working for the Lego Group for as an element designer for 2 years. So I got 5 or 6 elements released. I've done, for example, the leaf that use it for botanicals, like the pointy one.
Yes.
That one. And that was like a similar process. I think is try to always fit the brief, the aesthetic, make sure that it looks good, but it looks good with the other bricks.
Yes.
So
doesn't look too different.
Yeah, exactly.
Fits with the Lego family of elements. Yeah.
Because what we could have done as well is like make a very organic fin, but the problem is like the rest is like existing very quite simple geometry. So it would have been a bit, it would have looked a bit off if we would have done something generic, and as well we wouldn't have been able to reuse in different places.
Yeah, no, it looks really clean and definitely fits the overall aesthetic. Amazing. And talking about the back, then, could you talk us through the logic behind adding the blue wall at the back of the model?
Yeah, so we were when we were placing the model in different scenarios, you would quickly lose the silhouette of the model, of the colors, and everything would get lost depending on what would you have in the back, unless you put it on a clear, blank wall. So we really wanted to use the background to kind of control that. And it's also, if you look at a real aquarium, there's a lot of bluish tint actually to everything because of the water. So we really wanted to offset all. There's a lot of rich reds and yellows, and we wanted to offset that with a little bit of a cool backdrop. But it also gave us an opportunity to add stuff like these little snails to attach fish to. It also is used as a structural element, and then we once experimented with what we could do to use the texture. Can we use the actual Lego knobs for texture, or should we enhance it a little bit so you have a lot of these tiles that kind of mimic the water shadows that is from.
Did you play around with any different shades of blue?
Yes, I think we started off with dark blue, with what we call earth blue. We tried gradients. We tried a lot of things. Some of them you just have to build to see that it doesn't actually make sense in the end. Sometimes the gradients work, but sometimes if it's too big of a transition between 2 blues, you lose it. It becomes more of a. I think it reminded us of a pool when we did it. It was like pool tiling.
Yes.
And I was like, no, let's.
Okay. And I imagine it could have been quite distracting because you've got a lot of other colors going on here, right? That having more of a simple one helps everything else stand out.
Yeah, I think that was in general a challenge. Is like you have this huge amount of everything, and everything's kind of competing for attention. And how do you control that? That was a big challenge of moving things around and having a good balance of plain surfaces and really rich surfaces.
Yes. Okay. And moving on to the functions then, when did that come along in the design process, and what was that look? How did that look like to incorporate those functions?
The functions was something that we wanted to add a little bit of a layer so that if you have this displayed in a house, you maybe want to show it to your friends, but then there's not a lot of ways to interact with it. We wanted you to be able to at least have some interaction. Everyone knows it's not good to tap on the glass for the fish. But,
you should have had a fish like cutting against the glass and biting your finger or something.
You're not supposed to do that apparently, but I know a lot of people are really drawn to doing exactly that. People really want to interact with things, so I think this is giving them a little bit of a way to do that without necessarily having you spend a lot of time building complex gearboxes or anything. So all of these are very simple linkages with these CV joints and axles from Lego Technic that help us.
Did you take inspiration from any other Lego sets, or have you got experience incorporating functions, or was this the first time for you?
I think I've spent a lot of time with functions, building cars like the Back to the Future Time Machine or the Lego Pac-Man arcade. So functions are one of the more fun parts.
Excellent. Fantastic. And in terms of recolors, did you have to recolor a lot of elements for this set?
It's difficult to give you an exact number because sometimes we also have numbers for reintroducing something that was there before. But I would say overall there was roughly around 20 recolors that we had to account for in our system. So what that comes down to in real life, I don't know, but I think one of the benefits of recolors is that one of them can go a long way because there's a lot of repetition of patterns. So if you only need to color change one of these shell heads to create the whole pattern, so that actually goes a long way, I think.
Yeah, I particularly love that power elements piece in that yellow. Really interesting texture that really captures that coral well. Do you have a favorite part use within the set?
I love that one that actually you spotted, but I also love that we used so for the little crab is actually built out of the faceplate for, I believe, Iron Man.
Wow, that's great. Yeah.
I think that would probably be my favorite.
Fantastic. Yeah, loving the color scheme overall here. A really awesome model. Just all the colors, really draw my eye. How much did the size change over time? We touched on size at the start, but did you build the frame and play around with different size versions and depth as well, like the dimensions of it, or did you always have it like a rectangle, or did that change?
It was always a rectangle. It was just the size. It needed to go a little bigger, a little smaller until we kind of settled on this was a good size to do it. And everything exponentially grows. If you, for example, these are all in 16 by 16 plates. So if you add another 16 by 16 plate, it may seem just another additional one, but it actually increases the size by a huge margin, which then also increases everything that's inside, but then also structurally it brings more and more challenges because we really wanted you to be able to pick this up without any issues. I think in our quality meetings we've even tested by stacking a couple of them on top. I don't recommend you ever do that, but it's just for fun. We wanted to see how many we could stack up.
Fantastic. I'm sure people will take this structure that you've suggested and kind of build their own, so maybe adding one onto the side, maybe adding some of those man-made elements, maybe going up. Yeah, really interested to see what people will do with this. Fantastic. Okay, wow. And how did this compare to previous projects you've worked on? So you said cars as well?
Yes. So I think the big difference between working on a car is you're recreating a shape that already exists somewhere. You have to find a way to translate it into Lego Medium, whereas there's a lot of unknowns here. First of all, there's a lot of species we don't even know, and a lot of shapes you can work with, and we've never done an aquarium at this size. So you're more you have a lot of creative freedom, which is great for your process, but it is also a little bit of a it can also be a little bit tiring because you have nothing to lean on as backup. Everything is in on you to figure out, is this the right thing or is it not? There's no comparison to it. So every time you do a first thing, it's a little bit more difficult.
There's so many possibilities, right? Did you rely on the team around you to go to them with feedback and then incorporate that in?
Yeah. So one of the people was actual expert in saltwater aquariums, so he was a good inspiration for information, just so I don't do something incredibly wrong. But also, yeah, of course, our designers also have a lot of opinions about color theory and all the composition and how to make it a good building experience as well.
Yeah, fantastic. And I can notice so many fun details. You've got a white croissant for some shells. You've got some bubbles going up the back. You've angled the rockwork as well. For both of you, what are your favorite details in the set, maybe that we haven't touched on yet, or we can kind of touch on them as well? What do you say?
I really like that part. It feels so alive.
Yeah, I love the two
but...
subtle gradients as well, the two oranges.
Exactly.
Yeah. That crown piece.
Lots going on in there.
Yes. How about yourself?
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like the big anemone. It's just using two similar sort of colors to create gradients. I think is something that really works to the advantage here. Of course, I don't often get to use those kinds of colors.
Awesome. And final question then, in terms of the building experience, how is this designed to create an enjoyable building experience?
I think you're going to spend a lot of time building the base first, and then I would call it a slow burn kind of show.
It's got to be done, right?
There's just no way around it. But then it really picks up more and more and more. And
is the frame built in sections? So could multiple people build it and then put it together, or?
I believe the building instruction is only one, so it's not set up for that, as far as I know. But I'm pretty sure clever people will figure it out. I think if you take turns, I think you can definitely build it in sections. And the frame is, you build the base, later the back comes on, and then I think the front and the top of the frame come around the final steps.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much, both of you. It's been great to chat about this amazing model. Really excited for our viewers to see it and see where they can take it next. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.